KREM, I'm Channing Curtis.
And I'm Tim Pham. A lot to get to on this Wednesday morning, but we're starting things off with a look at your weather forecast because Thomas Patrick is tracking a windy Wednesday.
Yeah, that's right. And it's those winds that's going to cause any and all of our weather problems for today. The first of which is going to be elevating that fire danger back to its high to critical levels for the inland northwest. So a windy day from about 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's when the red flag warnings are in effect all across the inland northwest. But right now it is fairly calm skies, a little bit hazy off in the distance if you're looking north from Athol, Idaho, and that hasn't been a surprise up in Boundary County. But otherwise we do have mostly sunny skies and calm winds. Enjoy it for now because it's not going to stay that way for very much longer. Temperatures are in the 40s across North Idaho, has now dipped into 48 degrees in Coeur d'Alene and still 45 in Sandpoint as well. Meanwhile, we're still in the upper 50s here in Spokane. Now, temperatures do warm up incredibly quickly. We're back into the upper 80s for today with some hazy skies, but it will be a windy day out there. We'll be tracking some blowing dust, and we're going to see just where the wildfire smoke is going to be headed because of the wind direction that will be changing in the next 24 hours. So there is a lot to cover here for today and a cooler couple days ahead.
As of this morning, level 3 evacuations are still in place for a wildfire moving through Stevens County. So if you live near Pleasant Valley Road and Day Road, you need to leave now. As of last night, the fire burned around 50 acres. Stevens County Emergency Management says it is moving in the northeast direction. We are also expecting an update from officials later today, and we'll bring that to you as soon as it comes into our newsroom. This morning, investigators with the National Transportation Safety Board are now in Western Washington to investigate the deadly seaplane crash in Puget Sound over the weekend. The plane was flying from Friday Harbor to Renton when it crashed into the water, killing 10 passengers, including 2 people from Spokane. A spokesperson for the NTSB says the investigation could take up to 2 years, depending on how long it takes to recover the plane. Right now, they are still working to locate the wreckage. They have a large search area because of the tides and currents in the Puget Sound. Finding every piece is so important to the investigation.
Locating the wreckage will be very important. We don't know the cause of the accident at this point. It could be related to a system failure or mechanical failure or some other factor.
Well, the NTSB estimates the wreckage is currently at a depth of 100 feet. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife is using sonar equipment to assist with the search. Like we mentioned, 2 of the victims were from Spokane. Civil rights activist Sandy Williams and her partner Patricia Hicks are among those lost in the crash. This is a picture of the 2 of them. It was shared by Councilwoman Betsy Wilkerson. Williams was the executive director of the Carl Maxey Center and the founder and editor for the Black Lens newspaper. She became a pillar for progress in Spokane. Flowers were left outside of the Carl Maxey Center this week. People knew Williams in the community as determined, strong, and an advocate for social and civil rights justice.
She did bring black people together, to bring all people together, and for us to support each other. See, because when we can come together as a people, we have a beginning. And when we can stay together as a people, we got progress.
Patricia Hicks was also identified as one of the people on board the seaplane. Brown says Hicks was a great person. He also says the community will feel the loss of 2 important community members for a long time. Brown is among many remembering Sandy and Patricia this morning. For the rest of the week, flags in Spokane will be lowered to half-staff in remembrance of them. Channing Curtis now has more on what others in the community are saying this morning.
That's right, Tim. There's been an outpouring of reaction on social media from people remembering Sandy and Patricia. Spokane City Council member Betsy Wilkerson actually posted this statement on her Facebook page about the impact that Sandy had on her and the community as a whole. She wrote, quote, "Our East Central community lost a giant, a champion." She continued on Sandy's impact in creating the Carl Maxey Center, saying that dream actually started at a barbecue in Sandy's mother's backyard, and saying that it started because the black community lost so much and needed a space to call their own. Spokane Pride also posted on Facebook sharing a statement remembering Williams and her partner Patricia Hicks. It shares the accomplishments that Sandy made for the inclusion of the community since the first Pride in Spokane. It explains that she made significant strides for representation, justice, and equity, and that Williams contributed so much for Pride to be a reality in Spokane. The post goes on to say, quote, "We have made it this far because of people like her. May Sandy's legacy live through us and in our work. Thank you for being a forever Pride champion, Sandy," end quote. Now, also on Twitter, Washington Governor Jay Inslee made a statement in regards to the crash. He wrote, quote, "Trudy and I are devastated at the loss of those aboard the plane that crashed near Whidbey Island this weekend. Our hearts are with their families and communities today," end quote. Now, of course, we're continuing to gather more information regarding this plane crash, and we'll continue bringing you the latest information as we learn it. Now, for a complete list of the victims or even the latest updates on the search, you can head to our website, KREM.com, or text us the word crash to the number 509-448-2000.
We have an update on the officer-involved shooting we first told you about here on Up with KREM. It happened in the Hilliard neighborhood on Sunday night. We were the first news team to obtain surveillance video of the shooting. KREM 2's Nicole Hernandez broke this story for us on that morning, and she spoke to neighbors there who called police. Nicole, how are people reacting this morning?
So Tim, this whole situation started as a property line dispute between two different neighbors. At this point, police have not released the name of the person that died in this situation, but his girlfriend stepped forward and told us his name is Robert Bradley. Bradley's neighbor, the other person in that property line dispute, asked to be anonymous in this situation, but he told us he called police that night because he saw Bradley outside with a gun. Weeks before this, the neighbor said he had left 2 notes on Bradley's door asking him to remove a dog kennel and fence from his side of the property line. He says instead of being handled peacefully, Bradley threatened him and his 5-year-old son with a gun on his property. That's when the neighbor filed an anti-harassment protection order against Bradley. He says if police had served that order sooner, Bradley may still be alive today. Now, we have security footage from another one of Bradley's neighbors that appears to listen into the situation. There's over a minute of silence in the video before you seem to hear officers announce themselves and shoot within seconds. So the sheriff's office is now taking over the investigation into exactly what happened. Spokane Police Department says that the officers who shot Bradley were wearing body cameras. Now the investigators will have to decide whether or not those body cameras were on and take a look at what they caught. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
7:09 on the dot. Let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. An update this morning on the condition of that teenage girl who was hit by a school bus after a football game on Friday. This morning, we know that she is still in the hospital in critical condition. 5 days after the crash, the girl was crossing the street, we're told, on 8th Avenue when the school bus hit her on South Sullivan. The bus driver stayed at the scene and is cooperating with the investigation. New overnight, the Coeur d'Alene City Council unanimously approved a new contract that would bring more money to the city's firefighters. City Council is set to approve a 2-year contract with a 6% increase in year 1 and a 3% adjustment for year 2. The contract also includes a one-time $5,000 payment to each person represented by the union. Happening today, Governor Brad Little will be in Rathdrum as a part of a statewide celebration tour. His stop will be at Bayshore Systems in Rathdrum at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Little is celebrating the bill passed during last week's special session by making public appearances across the state. Little will also give remarks at an economic conference today in Coeur d'Alene. A new settlement is requiring the e-cigarette company Juul to pay 34 states because of marketing to underage users. Idaho is one of those states receiving a multi-million-dollar payout. The state will get $8.3 million of the total amount. Juul settled with Washington State earlier this year in a separate case. And that's a look at your morning rush.